No, that smell isn't Slappy having extra bean burritos tonight. No, that's the stench from the Sharks losing 5-1 over the Tampa Bay Lightning. I will, I will, I will spare you any comparisons of freaking Dave Mishkin because we don't want to be too annoying. This is Teal Town After Dark. We welcome you. Of course, I'm Eric Curry. You can follow me on Twitter, PetGuy14. But of course, this is a live and interactive Sharks postgame show. And if you want to be a part of the show, you can chat with us and follow Sharks fans in the YouTube chat on the page or on the app. Drive home safely tonight. It is raining, so be careful if you are tuning in live on the YouTube. But always use the hashtag TealTownUSA. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, and the YouTubes. And as a special bonus tonight, because we are the only Sharks postgame show tonight, we thought it'd be a nice salute to have 5 people on. Yes, 1 for each goal Tampa Bay scored tonight. So let's get this fun show underway. Say hello to the lovely and talented Miss Rocket Backhander.
I'm the soft one that Jones got in the 5-hole. Rocket Backhander.
Oh, jeez. My fellow Notch Bro, happy belated Nacho Day, Gentry Alexander.
Hi, I'm Jake Dotchin, and I just scored my first career goal.
Thank you, Sharks.
And also joining us tonight, Alex Martinet.
Hey, third one here, or fourth one here. That's how many Brentford's turnovers were in the game.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
And back from the Shark Tank, Mr. AJ Strong.
Doing my Tomasz Hurdle impression. In other words, I'm the only one showing up tonight.
Oh.
Hey, now.
Ouch is what we could say, but it didn't start ouch. And here's a good thing, folks. Thank goodness NBC got the game off in time. You're welcome, Landy. Because if you didn't, you would only seen the highlight of the night for the Sharks. As we begin this recap, 25 seconds into the game, scores on a relentless pursuit to begin the game. Rocket, I'll start with you. The Sharks came out ablaze in that first half minute into the opening frame.
Oh, sure they did. I think they probably got the memo that the Lightning are good and they should probably be a little bit worried. And they probably should not at any measure be caught flat-footed against Tampa Bay because they would be exposed. So get out there early, try to make the first shots count, keep at them, relentless pressure, blah, blah, blah. And that stayed up for a hot minute. And yeah, it was a good idea.
Yeah, no, I like the relentless pursuit of perfection. No, that's not a car ad or anything. But Notch Bro, I thought Donskoy looked really nice on that top power play on the top line with Thornton and Pavelski.
I think that's where he should always be. He played with them, in his first year and already had a good chemistry with them. And I think he's super elusive and super creative. So I think he should just be stuck on that line with the Joes because that's been the only thing going for them, with LeBanc now back in the Barracuda. He went to the slot and nobody saw him there, and it was an easy, goal 25 seconds into the game.
Absolutely. All right. And things just didn't seem to get going. They just didn't seem to get going. I think that after that woke up Tampa and Alex, the 97th player to score his first NHL goal against the San Jose Sharks, Jake Dotchin at 7:17 from point and Gord.
Yeah, that was somewhat of a turning point, if you wanted to call that. That was the second or third goal? I think it was the second.
First goal.
And it just kind of swung the momentum the other way. And then you saw, for me in the first period, you kind of saw the turning signs, the warning signs that led into the second period. I think the big stat, if you want to say it, is the Couture, Hurdle, and Carlson line just didn't perform at all tonight. They were -2 compared to Tampa Bay's depth. The third and fourth line just kept on hammering the Sharks, and that's just hurt us.
AJ, your overall thoughts on the first period? Like I said, they came out guns blazing, but after Tampa tied it up, it just kind of seemed like it was slowly starting to go Tampa's way.
It absolutely did. And before let's just talk about the NBC thing for a skirt of a moment.
I didn't mean to bring it up.
No, it was brought up. So allow me for 20 seconds to play the part of Landy. We don't thank NBC for that. We thank the early game for getting off in time, not NBC. That's all. So with this one, where did Donskoy get that goal from? About 5 feet away from being inside the net, which the Sharks have not done enough of this season. But if you look at the majority of Donskoy's goals this year, he's the one guy who's getting dirty. And that's what I like to see, and I hope that that continues. And I hope because of that, he stays with the Joes. We saw Hurdle do that a couple seasons ago, where Hurdle was the one that was willing to get dirty. And it seems like between Hurdle and Donskoy, whether you plug in LeBanc or Carlson or whoever you want to put in that slot, the fact of the matter is those guys weren't getting dirty, but Hurdle and Donskoy are willing to go there. I don't know why they weren't willing to go there after 30 seconds into the first period, but there you go.
Go ahead, Alex.
I was going to ask, did they move Timo to left wing in the first period?
No, they moved him to the left side of the bench after the first period.
Because he was starting to play the left wing in the first period. I didn't see that at all in the second or third period, but I just don't know if that has something to do with Vlasic coming back. He looked good, but I don't know if that's something just because they don't want to send another defenseman back down to Barracuda.
Oh, let's talk about that for a second, because we were actually talking about that before the game. Do you think, now it's been a while, I don't remember PDB ever doing this. I don't think I ever remember McClellan doing this, but this is something that we definitely saw during Daryl Sutter and Ron Wilson's reign with the Sharks. Do you think that once Martin is healthy and ready to go, when you look at how thin this fourth line is, Carpenter just being there since the beginning and putting up next to nothing, we've got Goodrow centering the fourth line, for Christ's sakes. When do we get to the point where Martin is healthy and instead of sending somebody down, we start dressing 7 defensemen with heat on the fourth line?
It is a possibility. I mean, we haven't seen them use 7 defensemen in quite some time, like you've mentioned. But
if you're going to do that, I think you first have to experiment. And I know people are going to hate me for saying this, but you have to experiment with putting Burns on the left wing.
Oh, God. Oh, he said it. Oh, God.
Who wants to shoot me first?
Oh, God.
Well, you know what? We're not going to do the whole dressing. We're not going to do the whole dressing 7B and having, one play, because we don't have Vandermeer to play on the fourth line.
Yes, there we go. Jim Vandermeer, yes.
That's okay, people. I put Alex on mute.
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, jeez.
But like, what's the thinking behind that? If you have 6 solid defensemen and Burns is a turnover machine this season, you have to at least experiment with keeping Burns.
With as much money as he's being paid,
oh my
he's
God.
not being paid money to be
do it
experiment. He's
early.
being paid to be a defenseman.
You know what? You know what, Andrew Bench? That's a great point.
Thank you.
My thinking is maybe not Burns, but maybe try somebody else. But I can't see them going back to that. And let's be honest. If Meyer's not playing the way he is, Yannick Hansen hasn't been playing the way he is, then putting somebody outside of their safety net, I think it's maybe time you need to shake up something.
Maybe
Yeah,
it's time
I mean,
you
yeah,
need to
you're-
dip into that $6 million in cap space you have.
Well, but how much are we going to give up? That's the catch. I mean, let's be real here. There was rumors that there was a trade coming, and
We're gonna get rid of that 4th rounder that we're gonna get for DeMello in February.
No, I just put it out there where you dress 7 defensemen, you put Heat on the 4th line, so you keep that option of putting Heat with Burns and the front 3 on the power play, or you pull it back so you have Heat as an option as as a point shot on the second power play unit. Either way, I think Heed has definitely proven himself over the last 10 games that he's worth keeping around, whether you have to dress a 7th defenseman or not. Oh, somebody tell Gen X to go listen to a Rush album.
You mean the Canadian national anthem?
Same difference.
Yeah. And you know what? And Gen X, you're absolutely right. It's not how much are you going to give up. It's what do you have to give up. And
I told you we have the 4th rounder that we're gonna get for DeMello in February.
But it's also fun. No, it's that you have to give to get. Who wants a 38-year-old defenseman on his last legs that can only play with a Wookiee? There's not a lot of guys you're going to be able to find that are going to want to take Martin's contract. I mean, that's one guy you want to move no matter how many burritos you throw at him.
I'll even spring for guac.
Jen, we were talking about this earlier today, how maybe you trade a younger defenseman to get a better return as opposed to trading Martin.
Sadly, that's going to have to be the case. Or you just try your best to package, Tierney, Bodker, and maybe Joakim Ryan, and hope that somebody, that you get a nice haul for him. Whether it's depth or or you do what I suggested and somehow move Yannick Hansen and just kind of say bye-bye to Ward.
Well, see, and here's the funny thing, too, is that the start of this season, it was just kind of like, oh, we've got this great, right down the line where we got Thornton, we got Couture, we got Hurdle, we got Tierney. Oh, my God, we're so just... This depth down the middle is fantastic. And what the hell has happened? They've already pushed Hurdle up, and there's talk about moving Tierney, which makes every Sharks fan who pays attention to where people are slotted in going, oh, you want to move Tierney? Wow, what a great idea. Who the fuck is going to play center for the 3rd and 4th lines? I mean, obviously, no matter what you move, if you pull off something miraculous where you're able to move Martin, Bodker, and Tierney for Tavares, yeah. But if you're able to pull off something, yeah, you have to get a center back. But it's so funny when you think about it. It's like Pavelski is a center, Marlowe is a center, Hurdle's a center. What are they doing now? They're all playing wing, boys.
Yes,
because that's all we do is draft centers and then convert them to wing.
Jesus Christ! Somebody get John Scott on the phone, would you?
Oh, jeez. No. Let's
hashtag legend, Rocket.
No. Let's not bring up John Scott. Let's
hashtag
not bring
my captain.
Oh,
All-star MVP, bitches.
Okay.
Yeah. See, okay, so I have a couple of things to say about tonight's performance. So number one, this was not the Colorado Avalanche or Arizona Coyotes that the Sharks played. This was the Tampa Bay freaking Lightning. They're putting up ridiculous numbers this year. They're on all sorts of blood doping medications that nobody's caught them on, and they are able to progress rapidly through the ranks of the NHL. If they can sustain this pace with little injury, there is no doubt that they will make it all the way to the final season, the finals. But I don't know who will go against them, and I don't really care because there's still 60-plus games left in the season. I intend to enjoy all 60 of them before I get too wrapped up in playoffs.
Are you trying to say people in Florida can get a hold of good drugs?
No, I'm saying that club is better than the Bay Area's club. They have better doctors.
Their Bay Area is better than our Bay Area.
I'm just gonna say this: it's
True.
almost like the scouting staff in Tampa knows what they're doing. Just throwing that out there, and they were able to kind of acquire all these picks and prospects, and move certain or certain guys for other guys that can turn into NHLers, because it's like, oh, we have all this plethora at forwards. What do we need? Well, we need a pretty good defensive stud. Here, let's get Mikhail Sergachev for what was it, Jonathan Drouin. It's like, what? Like they have that much center where losing Drouin was kind of like chump change, and it's like, oh, but now our defense is even better. What are the Sharks gonna do? Who can they do? What can they do to bring up somebody? Because we don't have that stud prospect that's gonna come in and just say, all right, Sharks, get on my back because I'm gonna carry you guys all the way until April.
And that's the thing, is that you were hoping last year, and after the success of the Barracuda, that there would be that guy that would step up, and it just hasn't materialized just yet. I mean, it is still early, but
so far the only two that have stepped up, in my opinion, are Ryan and Heed. DeMello regressed really bad, and everybody was assuming that the sixth spot was going to be his, but right now it's Heed's. And then you also have to look at, and Ryan has just kind of come in and is smooth, and is able to kind of be the Burns Whisperer 2.0, and is more, defensively sound than Paul Martin was, who kind of got wrapped up in the, his own beard, and Burns.
I think you're absolutely right on that. Not to get sidetracked, because I do want to get back to the game, of course, but do you
I get back to the game because the Sharks didn't get back to their game.
Oh, ba-dum-bum.
Nice.
Back to you, Alex.
But do you think this is one of the last core runs you could do with Jumbo, Burns, that core group?
I think last year should have been the last core run. I think that they should have addressed some more things in the offseason, but we were like, we're going to do what I call the Pittsburgh Penguins method, where it's like, oh, we're just going to have our prospects come in, and they're all going to chip in like Connor Sheary and Brian Rust and all of them. But the problem is that when you have a good head coach who's effectively able to use those prospects, and I forget who the head coach is for Pittsburgh.
Oh, jeez.
It's slipping my mind.
Original Shark Mike Sullivan.
There you go, that guy.
You're able to,
yeah.
Well, I'll take jokes from 2 seasons ago for $500, Alex.
Last season.
That was a good throwback, though.
Anyways, back to you, Jen.
But I'm going to say this, is that that coach came in through the system, and he knew those prospects very well, and he was able to slide them in roles that they were going to succeed. Dober has had a history of not being able to develop young talent.
So welcome new Sharks head coach Mike Ricci.
But is that on DeBoer or is that on Wilson?
No, it's on Steve Spott, because he should be fired.
Dude, that's 1/3 of the game, brother. And you can't blame Steve Spott for the Sharks scraping the barrel for 5-on-5 scoring so far.
No, but we can blame him for his 0 for 5 on the power play tonight, because it's becoming so lax and so predictable that it's kind of like we're in season 92 and they're just rehashing old episodes. We've become the Simpsons with our power play. Everybody knows what we're going to do, and it's not funny anymore.
That's actually a really good comparison.
And with that, we'd like to welcome those of you who are not watching Sports Jeopardy on NBCSN to Teal Town After Dark. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below or to the side. We do this after every Sharks game. You can join us in the chat on the YouTube page or the app. And, of course, you can hit us up on Twitter at TealTownUSA.
And please do us a favor. Follow us on Teal Town USA. Share it to your friends. We're only 33 follows away from $2,000. We'd like to hit that by Thanksgiving, please.
Yeah, what AJ said.
Something.
Yes.
just whisper it, and then they tell 2 friends, and then they tell 2 friends.
And do want to point out at me. I don't care. Fight me on it on Twitter. I don't care. Tonight was the 8th home game for the San Jose Sharks. 4 out of 4 were not sellouts, and tonight was one of those occurrences.
Yeah, it looked a little bare all night long. So that'll be an interesting trend to see as it goes on, especially
Looked
Saturday
a little
night.
bare, dude. There are pornos that did not look that bare tonight.
Hey, but it's look, it's all the way across the league. Like every game
Yeah.
that I've seen is
So
there was it was just all of them have been empty. Some of them have been a little full, one or two big division rivalries, but otherwise it's been pretty empty all the way across.
And yet they decide that, hey, it's a good time to raise prices, isn't it?
Getting back to the game in the second period, Nikita Kucherov, 44 seconds in, says, well, we'll score early in the first. We'll score in the second early. From the Nestikov and Stamkos made it 2-1. Slater, and this is my favorite last name, Cuckoo, with I think the goal that the Joner should have had.
That should have been the one that knocked him out of the game.
But I think he. Go
I
ahead,
mean,
guys.
that 5-hole was so, humongous big. I didn't know who was in net because, Jones has the right number to be Niemi, and that 5-hole went in rather easily.
Really? I saw 31 out there. Thought it was Steve Shields.
Leading up to that, though, Tampa Bay did have a strong offensive rush that caused that. I think he was just tired from facing 6 shots all at once.
I want to know why Joner tonight decided that it would just be like a good night to leave the porch. Not several times. Like he really did kind of channel his inner Stalock there, and he just wandered away.
Tonight was one of those games where it just felt like if you look at what they've done so far, like they throttled the Devils. I mean, they shut them out in New Jersey. Top team in the East at the time that game was played. The Sharks so far, we're 12 games in. The Sharks so far have actually played up to the level of their competition until tonight. So I almost kind of feel like maybe they got a little too full of themselves after Donskoy scores 25 seconds in, and they're just kind of like, yeah, we're playing up to the level, and we're gonna do amazing things tonight, and it's gonna be so great, and then just wheels off.
And then Nikita Kucherov went, ha, stupid Americans.
Well, and the fact that Tampa Bay's top line, each one of the guys at the top line, each had 3 points. When was the last time you see the Sharks do that?
Each of them had 3 points, and that right there is kind of showing you the chemistry that those three are able to do. Like the chemistry that they have, the things that they are able to do. Like Nemestikov, like before this season, was like a third, fourth liner at best. But then all of a sudden, you kind of pair him with elite players like Stamkos and Kucherov, and all of a sudden, it flows. They know where each other's going to be, and that's why you have 2 of the leading scorers in the league. And they were on display tonight. Like they were running circles around the Sharks defense. And it gave me really nasty PTSD into the Stanley Cup Finals a couple years ago when it was the Penguins just running circles around our defense.
You hit it on the head. It was they really used their speed, used their skill to take care of it. This was the graphic. Thank you, AJ, for screenshotting this to me. But yeah, the top line for the Lightning, 9 points on the night. Kucherov with a goal and 2 assists. Nemestikov with 2 goals and an assist. And Stamkos, he didn't feel like scoring anything. He just wanted to dish it off for 3 assists on the night.
Lazy bastard.
Yeah, well,
apples.
Yeah.
Was that their top line?
Yeah,
that's their top line.
3 points.
Oh no, it's their second line. Their top line.
Wouldn't that have been really jacked if that was their 4th line? Holy crap!
I mean,
oh my
God. With Tampa Bay, that's their strongest point. That's their depth.
Well, and that was that's what Kevin Kerr's talked about going into this game. A couple different people talking about going into this game was, would the Sharks be able to handle Tampa Bay's depth? And the resounding answer was, how about no? That was pretty much it. And Laurel in the chat, digging my jersey. Yes, I did in fact pay for this. And Rocket and Gentry were with me when I bought it because it was a whopping $10 at
Yep.
the
Levi
super
thing.
sale at Levi's.
Yep, I have
So,
one too. It's in my
yes.
closet.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and so just to finish recapping the game, Kucherov, Cuckoo, Nemestikov, 3 goals in the second period. Nemestikov scores one more time in the third to pretty much ice it on the power play, no less. For Tampa, they finished 1 for 4 in the power play. The Sharks were 0 for 2. Shots on goal was almost even. Sharks out shooting Tampa Bay 33-30. Face-offs, Sharks won 2/3 of them. So that's a big one. They just couldn't execute after winning the draw. Hits were fairly even, 25-22 in favor of San Jose. The blocks, that's the big story. Lightning outdid them 2-1 in blocked shots. Of course, like we said, the 3-point night from Kucherov, Nemestikov, and Stamkos, throw in a couple of assists for Gord. He played exceptional tonight. Stallman with an assist for Tampa. Vasilevsky, here's a guy who, last year was up and down because Ben Bishop was in the way in Tampa Bay before he got traded to LA. Now he's making a big splash for himself. 29 saves on 30 shots, and played an exceptional night. On the other hand, for Martin Jones, he stopped 17 of 21 shots and took a penalty for holding the stick that the FAR referee called on. Dell was 8 of 9 in relief in the third period. He did let that one in on Nemestikov's third period goal, excuse me. And yeah, here's the big thing, guys. Pavelski and Thornton combined 1 shot on goal. You know who had the most shots on goal tonight? Donskoy with 5, Meyer with 5, Bodker with 4.
Well, and let's also preface that too, that Thornton and Pavelski with that 1 shot on goal, like that literally happened in like the first 4 minutes of the first period. And after that, nothing.
Yeah, and so it was...
Oh, captain, where did my captain go?
He only played 17 minutes today.
Lazy bastard.
I don't know if that's rest because the Sharks were off 3 days, but there might be something.
And that's the other thing too. I mean, the Sharks need to take advantage of the fact that they've literally played 3 games in the last 8 days. I mean, we're in the middle of an unprecedented amount of like a decompressed schedule, because it's not going to get any easier after Thanksgiving. Like after Thanksgiving, you've got playing Arizona the day before Thanksgiving, the day after Vegas, the day after that Winnipeg, 2 days after that Philadelphia. I mean, you're going to get some compression. This is the time that you need to take care of working on the damn power play that seems to be going nowhere right now. And the fact that Tampa Bay's on a road trip and you've been off for 3 days, the Sharks should have been out there gangbusters tonight, and they really weren't. This entire game. Like, yeah, you can sit there and go, wow, it was great to see Donskoy score 25 seconds in. That's awesome. But for the most part, the Sharks were chasing their tails tonight.
Yeah, not the least of which, and I'll throw this at Gentry, they pretty much gave them a freaking free power play tonight. They had only 4 players on that freaking 4th goal. And I'm trying to figure out how, first off, and who's responsible for that, because that just seems like that you cannot have that happen.
I think that was more on the long shift in the second period than anything else. People were tired from killing power plays. The transition game for the Tampa Bay was just killing us in the second period, and plus we couldn't dump the puck to get fresh players off the ice. It's just Tampa Bay was on a roll. I think they were on a hot streak from first to third period. They came out ready to go. We didn't.
and I think the Sharks should have had this game tonight. We were actually facing a starting goaltender. I would have been more concerned if Bugai was in there. But
Really?
the thing that really ticked me off is that the Sharks kind of, they were gift wrapping this game for Tampa Bay. Like, you had all that energy in the first, and then you just kind of they did the whole, oh well, we scored first, let's just sit back and let our defense do the work. Here's a problem with that, is that your defense really isn't all that good. I mean, you just got Vlasic back, who, probably still kind of ailing from, concussion or maybe something like that. So you're relying too much on that. And then another thing is that you're also saying, like, oh, hey, Jones, we're going to hang you out to dry, go for it. And the Lightning just sat there and like I said, they were running circles around him. You could have put the Benny Hill music to this game, and it would have fit.
Yeah, but that wasn't a case of the Sharks handing it to him tonight. That the Sharks got beat the same way that they got beat 2 years ago against Pittsburgh in the final. Tampa Bay has speed, the Sharks don't.
Yes,
Yeah.
and another thing that kind of irked me is, and it seemed that they weren't communicating at all. It's like they had AT&T and had no receptions when they were talking to one another.
Oh.
Now, as someone who didn't watch the Kings game,
Cue your
did you
AOL puck guy joke here.
but did you see any comparisons to how the Sharks played tonight to that?
Oh, to the LA game, the second game of the year? A little bit, yeah.
It felt like it was the same response from all you guys.
No. Rock, your overall thoughts on this 60 minutes of professional men's ice hockey?
There were breakdowns in the professional part and the men's part and the ice part and the hockey part. So it was a breakdown in all categories. Uncategorically, it was disastrous. But hey, you know what? When I became a Sharks fan, it was during the 2014-2015 year. And I remember guys like Scott Hannon and Tyler Kennedy and who else? John Scott was on the roster. Rafi Torres, and then he got a 44-game suspension, and I didn't know who he was. So I mean, the pieces are there. The pieces to be a solid core unit are there this year in this roster. And the fun thing is that most of them were here last year. Even if they weren't on the same ice, they were 20 feet away from each other in a different dressing room.
Oh, yeah.
So like it does feel like there's a lot more cohesion and a lot more just they feel closer as a bench, I think, this year than they have in years past. This was just a tough game. And I want to put some of it on the Sharks, but I also want to put a lot of it on Tampa Bay, just for going out and giving us outstanding performance in front of everybody at the tank. They all had, of course we have to give up some kid's first NHL goal, because that's how the Sharks are. They're just very hospitable. Welcome to the NHL, kid. Here's your first one. The first one's on us.
Yeah. See, I couldn't disagree with Rocket more. As I don't think that this Sharks team has what it takes to do much damage at this point. Like,
no,
they have talent
to get second round.
I don't even know that they have that. They have talent on the blue line. Obviously, with the ascension of Heed and Ryan, they've proven that they have some depth there. It's the third and fourth line. We came into this. How often last season did we see people talking about Tierney he's no better than a fourth line center? Now, he's ascended a little bit into that third line center role. I'll give you that. But the problem is the Sharks have no one to fill the spot that he's left on the fourth line. Barclay Goodrow, are you kidding me, as the fourth line center? No, that's not going to get it done in the postseason, kids. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. So it comes down. Is O'Regan going to fill that spot? No. Is Carpenter going to fill that spot? Well, let's see. He was on the squad for what, 11 games and had 0 points and really wasn't an impact player whatsoever. The Sharks need to make a move or an acquisition. They need to shore up the bottom six. If you look at history with this Sharks team, whether it's today, whether it's 5, 6, 7 years ago, the noose around their neck has always been bottom line depth. They're scoring on the third and fourth lines, the contributions that those guys are going to provide. The Sharks don't have it so far, and they haven't had that for a while.
I completely agree with that. It just kind of seems that, when we did make it to the Stanley Cup final, we did have a considerable amount of depth on our bottom lines. We were getting, but we weren't getting a lot of production out of them. It was just our top six just working like gangbusters during that playoff run. And then we saw them kind of scale back a little bit, with last season and this season. And we were thinking that, oh, well, we can have some guys step in and, kind of prove themselves. This is one of those, show me types. And then we were going to put Hurdle as a third line center and kind of build some chemistry with him and Meyer, and kind of go from there. And then obviously within, 2 to 3 weeks into the season, we were already starting the line juggling of sorts. So I think what they should start looking at is scaling back on certain guys' ice times. One of those guys being Pavelski. Pavelski and Thornton have not had the magic together that they've had in past. So maybe you bump up a guy, maybe you mesh some lines together and you say, hey, why don't we put Pavelski with Couture and maybe Donskoy? Maybe you put Hurdle with Thornton and Carlson, just to kind of see, just to kind of bring the lines together a little bit more and see what you've got. And then you can start moving guys down into their roles, and maybe even making, Carpenter as a wing and going from there. But I think
Sharks fans, get your ass to Sur La Table, and you can get your very own teal-colored Gentry line blender.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I will agree with on the chat, and Kevin Lacey brought this up. I don't think the fourth line is really there for scoring. It's more for the physical.
I'm not saying that it's there for scoring, and I guess I probably should have tried to maybe that should have been some sort of point that I should have
I think
show me any team that the fourth line is there for scoring. That's not what I mean. It's the fact that Carpenter, for the time that he was here, has been a non-fucking factor. Just a non-factor. So at least get somebody. I would much rather at the very least, yeah, the fourth line is there to kind of be defensive, shut down the other, the opposition squad. I get it for the shit that they're out there, but the thing is, you have to leave when you leave the ice. You have to leave the puck in a good spot for the line that's coming out. The fourth line is not doing that. They're not leaving the money guys. They're not leaving the puck in a good position.
And I'll agree with you on most of that. I just think we have 2 third lines, and we don't have a solid fourth line that fills that physical niche, that need.
Exactly.
So,
somebody get Mike Ricci and Scott Parker on the phone.
Nope, we got to bring back Fraser McLaren. Got to bring those guys back. Bring back Andrew Desjardins. What is he up to right now?
Okay, and Kevin Lacey, Carpenter has been one of their top PK guys. Yeah, the PK has been great. Did Carpenter play tonight? No, he didn't. Did the PK shut down everything they saw? Yeah. Carpenter played last game? No. PK shut down everything? Yeah. Okay, so now what's your point?
Well,
I'm just, Lacey, bro, I love you, man, but seriously, dude.
I think it's more about him getting minutes on the PK because we have a solid line on the PK, and Velasi got some time on it. He was off, but I think I saw him once or twice on the PK when he was gone. So it's just, I think it's more of a depth issue with Carpenter.
Let's go into the chat.
Hold on. Wait, whoa.
Chivo says bring back Mike Brown.
The teddy
Absolutely.
bear.
Somebody needs to play cowbell on this fucking team. Hold on. What are you talking about, though? Hold on. What are you talking about with this with the fourth line and what now with depth? What? We don't have any depth right now.
Who are you talking to?
Yeah,
I'm talking to you, dude. You were just talking about fourth line and shit.
We have like I said before, we have 2 third lines. We don't have a solid fourth line. We have 2 competing third lines. We don't have that need of a fourth line.
See, I'd consider debating that and saying we have 2 fourth lines and not a third line at this point.
I'm saying a third line that can score, and usually a fourth line has that physical component to a team. And right now we don't have that.
but the thing with our fourth line, and I think this is where the team went with the fourth line, rather than have a slow and checking role, they were going with more of a speedster defensive type. And I think because of the revolving door that's been in there, whether it's sitting out Hansen, where it's sitting out Ward, or where it's sitting out Carpenter, maybe there isn't some cohesion. Now, Kevin's right. Carpenter has played well defensively and along with a PK.
It's been decent, and Kevin Lacey is talking about on the chat, defensive players don't contribute apparently. That's not what I'm saying. One of the best fourth liners that the Sharks ever had was Mark Smith. And one of the reasons why he was such a great fourth liner is that he constantly hustled and beat out icing calls and would leave the puck in the right spot for the big money guys to come out and play that stuff. Right now, the fourth line guys, they're not pulling that off. They're kind of working out the other squad a little bit and blah blah blah. You have to leave the puck in a good spot for the money guys to come out and take control of that. Now, part of that is on Pete DeBoer. That you have to coach that into these guys. And I've said that I don't know how many times, where it's just like when you're in the offensive zone. Why are you putting Hurdle on the faceoff in the offensive zone when it comes to a power play when they're not doing well? Well, when Hurdle wasn't doing well. It's stuff like that. This is just, it comes down to coaching. And sometimes PDB, a little sketchy on those.
All right, let's go to the chat. Tracy Kelbaugh, four game winning streak, and you all give up after facing the top team in the whole NHL. And like Skylar said, it's not that we were giving up. It was, but if that game is what's going to happen in the playoffs, it's going to be ugly. And you're right. How it's not, if they had lost 4-3, I wouldn't feel bad. But when you lose 5-1, especially after you get off to that start, I think is the biggest issue I think that everybody has on hand.
Especially since it's not even Thanksgiving yet. This is a totally appropriate time to just get frustrated and think this is the end and doom and gloom and things are just going to go off the rails from here.
Right. Rob Humphrey in the chat. I'm scrolling backwards, guys, so forgive me.
Yeah.
Rob,
it is the season for giving.
Well, also we're Sharks fans. We're all doom and gloom here. Like
this is true. We are overreactive, over passionate, like maybe displaced Sharks fans. Possibly.
Well, I mean, we like to show more passion and show up for games. Unlike NBC Sports. So that's what we do. We're here to just we're here to be the voice of the fans, and many of them are very angry, and some of them are angry, but they don't know why, and they just want to make loud noises. So we're here to filter that for them.
Nice hat, by the way.
Thank you.
Rob Humphrey in the chat. The PK shut down everything except for the free power play we gave them. Yeah, that's very true. Gen X in the chat says, man, the Teal Town USA season party is going to be hella lit with all the Munch AJOs, the swear jar.
Fuck you.
Let's see. And my mom's even on this, on the chat here. Wow. Jumbo forgot what it is to be a team player. Stop passing the puck and shoot into net, please.
Has she just met Jumbo?
No, but
he's just not a stud muffin.
Oh, there's a story to that word. You'll have to get it from her, but I'm just trying to
Ooh,
go
I
through the chat.
clearly picked a scab on that one.
Oh gosh. The other thing, and I believe, and Laurel mentioned it, trivia person, get on that shark head malfunction. I believe, although Rocky, you said it might have happened twice last year, I believe this is the fourth time that the Sharks did not come out of the shark head to begin a game. And if that is correct, then it's the sixth time for the two that you mentioned last season. And if I remember correctly, the 4 times that I know of, they've all lost.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out
Christ,
there.
Are we back to the whole,
but here's
Sharks
the thing,
losing on a
sometimes-
full moon thing?
But there was one time, I think, where the shark head didn't come down because there was a power outage in the building, and when they got the power reset, the little transfer or whatever for the winch wouldn't work, so they couldn't lower it. So I mean, sometimes it is the building, and sometimes I guess it's mechanical error of the winch itself. But yeah, that shark's head, that's like the thing. That's our power animal. You can't expect it to just be like up there in the rafters and the guys to go out there and give it. Because it never really feels like they made it onto the ice for the game because they never skated through the head. It makes total sense.
Well, maybe we needed the head to lower down to get their heads in the game.
Exactly.
All I heard is something about giving head. That's all I heard.
Rob Humphrey in the chat. They look bored and unprepared. It looks like a coaching problem to me. They don't seem motivated.
See, I don't think that was it at all. I think sometimes you lose to the better team. Tampa, right now, I mean, just based on points, you look at their team speed. They're just a better team right now, and the Sharks are going to run into that from time to time. Show me the hockey team that goes 82-0.
Yeah, absolutely. Morocco 3-2-3 defense and Jones, other than tonight, of course, have been good. It's the offense that's been a nightmare, and I completely agree. The defense has played pretty soundly. I think this one, and Alex, you mentioned it too. For the LA game, they've had 2 stinkers, but relatively they've played a fairly good defensive sound game, which is fine. But yeah, the offense has been an issue right now. So,
is this what you're saying? The first blowout, the first competitive blowout you've seen this season?
No, that would have been the game against LA, the first time that Jones got pulled.
Because I personally didn't see the Kings game, so I'm just gonna.
And you call yourself a fan?
Oh, I missed one game.
Oh my God, you guys! With that, let's
be honest. It was probably the night of his bar mitzvah.
Oh, jeez. There were 3 games in the NHL tonight. Let's go to the NHL wraparound. In Toronto, it was the first time that the Leafs did not play with Austin Matthews in his career. They seem to have stepped up their game just fine with Nazem Kadri, Connor Carrick, and Connor Brown getting goals, and some guy named Patrick Marleau with his 6th on the season. Those 4 guys beat the Minnesota Zuckers, and I say that because Zucker scored the 2 goals for Minnesota.
I'm sorry, I have something in my ear. Patrick who?
Oh.
I don't know. I mean, I heard he's kind of gutless.
He might be gutless, but he just passed the guy who said gutless on the all-time goal-scoring list tonight.
Holy crap!
Cashed in opportunities, I'll tell you that.
What a pivot! Did you hear that transition? That was brilliant.
Well, I try. Earlier tonight, so the Leafs won 4-2. Earlier in MSG, the game prior to Sharks and Lightning, Jimmy Vesey with 2 goals give the Rangers a 4-2 victory over the Boston Bruins, as the Rangers now are at 8-7-2 after that nightmare start for them. Pavel Buchnevich, along with Jimmy Vesey's 2 goals, along with Rick Nash's empty netter, or I think it was an empty netter at 1952, finish off the scoring for the Rangers. Pasternak and Bergeron for the Bruins, as the Bruins go to 6-5-3 on the year. And that's where that's at. And of course, the Sharks lost 5-1 to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Hold on. So you're saying that since Rick Nash scored tonight and the Sharks didn't really do much, that trading for Nash confirmed?
Yes, if that was 2000 and late.
Yeah, hold on. I'm still looking for the mute button. Hold on.
Oh, no. Jeez. Yeah,
Come
so
on.
the Rangers actually leapfrog into a wild card spot at this time. Tampa's still the leader in the East right now, with Toronto and Pittsburgh a few points back.
Vancouver did leapfrog the Sharks tonight.
That's true. Why is that?
Someone say Shorthouse?
Yes, because it just happens to be the next opponent for the San Jose Sharks is the Vancouver Canucks. And with the Canucks having one less regulation loss, the Canucks now go to 18 points, and they are the Sharks' next opponent. Your thoughts?
Oh, well, I think we're all happier about that now that I've muted Puck Guy. I mean, there's only so much short house you can take, and we're going to get a ton of it this weekend.
It's like a bad Saw sequel. It just keeps coming.
Yep.
Is there a giveaway the versus Vancouver?
No,
Yeah. It's a special ticket,
Oh,
Yeah,
it's one of
special
those.
ticket.
Oh, so what is the special ticket worth this time?
It's the A's mashup shirt.
Oh, that is correct. Yes. And how did I not know that? Because friend of the show, Brody Brazil, did tweet a show-off photo that he has already picked up his youth-sized shirt. According to Gen X. I asked for an XL, and evidently Gen X pointed out that, oh, Brody could fit into it. Clearly there's no XLs available.
Wow. Okay, you know what, chat? How dare you? And especially my mom. That's just messed up.
Oh, dear. Okay, we'll get to the chat in a second. Can we just let, Rocket tell everybody where she's from and what she's doing, and let her, for the love of God, she's 2 hours ahead of us. Don't tell us what's going to happen, but at least tell us what you're doing now.
Yeah, okay. So it's 1:12 in the morning here in Nashville, and I need to get my ass and the rest of my little corporeal being into bed and asleep as quickly as possible. So my name is Rocket Backhander. If you want to check out what I'm doing, you can find me on Twitter, capital R, capital B, little Ackhander76. I take pictures of fun stuff on Instagram. One word, Rocket Backhander. Check me out. Do all sorts of the things. Follow me, support us. Be nice. I gotta go get my beauty sleep. Love you guys. Good night.
Good night, Rocket. Thank you
Well,
for joining
there you
us.
For the love of God, that woman, those eyebrows don't happen naturally. It takes work, man. She's got to get some rest.
Yeah, it's like Sleepy Mofo says, she gets the first star of the night. Christine, I wish I looked that good at 1:12 in the morning.
Hi-yo.
Chester saying if you follow her, you get a free button.
Oh my God.
Oh, there we go. You know what? Hey, we've got looks to be about 33, 34 watching. I just want to point out, turn on my cam. I thought it was still on. Anyway, want to point out to everybody watching, if you're local, hey, if you're not local but would like to make the trek in, December 2nd, Teal Town, USA viewing party. Who are we playing? Tampa Bay. Oh, well, that should work out well after tonight's little soiree. But we'll be playing Tampa Bay on December 2nd, so it ties right in with tonight's shit show. But come out to our little watch party. Hello, details to be determined, location to be determined. But let me just put two things out there.
One, it's going to have a lot of alcohol.
No. Well, yeah. Okay, three things to be determined. One, there will be a good selection of beer. Two, somebody will walk away with this gorgeous chum jersey back here. And number three, I kind of confirmed it tonight, but you might see a rather large fish that you recognize. It's going to be at that watch party. So December 2nd, clear your calendars. Get ready to make the trip down to San Ho or the San Ho area. Watch party with Teal Town USA versus Oh, Lord help us. The Tampa Bay Lightning. And again, there will be alcohol aplenty to drown your sorrows if the game ends up like it did tonight versus Tampa Bay.
Is it too late to change?
According to Sharky, yes.
And with that, we will begin final thoughts with you, Mr. Martinet.
Disappointing effort all the way around. Couture, Hurdle, Carlson. That seemed like that was a pretty solid second line. Didn't show up tonight.
Really? Couture and Carlson, I'm there with you. I thought Hurdle worked his tail off tonight, even though, it wasn't happening with his line mates.
It wasn't happening. I just thought that they didn't lead any transition opportunities, and they were there. It just, I think this was an overall game that you wipe. You just kind of forget out of the fastest you probably can. I don't really blame Jones for his effort. I think it was just Tampa Bay's transition and our lack of dumping the puck into the defensive zone or offensive zone. For me, that's just the way it kind of looked for me. Both teams had 3 days off. This should have been a more competitive game, 2-1, 3-2, that sort of effort. But overall, disappointing effort. It wouldn't surprise me, and Kevin Kurtz pointed this out on Twitter, that he wouldn't be surprised if Dell started on Saturday, and then on Sunday you see Jones versus the Kings.
What a shocker.
So, yep.
All right. What? Go ahead, Alex. Finish.
So you can, outside of Teal Town, you can find me on Twitter at Al Martinet. I have 2 reviews going up this week for the Xbox One X and Assassin's Creed. So
what?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's also
wait a minute. We're reviewing like video games on Teal Town USA. Did I miss a memo?
No. This is not even that. But that's what I'm doing this week, and yeah.
All right. Gentry, your final thoughts, good sir. And yes, for those in the chat, I am wearing shorts, so chill out. Gentry, your final thoughts, sir.
Well, like the weather tonight, the Sharks make my eyes rain. They lose a stinker, but my fantasy team is going well. I'm currently undefeated.
F you.
Also,
Jesus, it's not Fantasy Friday, bro.
Every day is fantasy for me. Anywho, you can check me out atjalexander46 on Twitter. I've got the Instagram, same handle. So just, I think hopefully the Sharks kind of look at this as a reality check and kind of get back to work against the Vancouver Canucks. Hopefully we beat them so bad that the Vancouver riots again. And then hopefully we answer back with another decisive win over the LA Kings. So, and then we beat them so bad that they riot again. So either way, I want to see some riots happen. And Sharks be the cause of it. Let's go.
Oh man, we're gonna be in trouble if that happens. Mr. Strong, your final thoughts.
As always, AJ_Strong on the Twitter, on the Google. Once again, December 2nd, mark it on your calendars. This beautiful chum jersey could be yours if you show up. And hello, hey now, who doesn't want one of those? New Pucknologist should be out tomorrow night or Friday morning, depending on how much editing I have to do because Hockey Jerk can spin a yarn. And hello, we face Vancouver this week. Did somebody say no? Nobody said it. I'm sorry. I should have said Canucks and not the V word.
You said it.
But the Sharks pull a win out. Hey, they could leap back into the top 3. So we shall see what happens. I think we all, let's be honest, we're all thinking that the market is going to correct itself. Los Angeles is not going to hold this division. They're not going wire to wire with this, and Vegas will fall back down to earth. So it's only November, early November, kids. So let's, Sharks faced a really tough opponent tonight. It is what it is. They know what they need to work on. Power play. Anyway, so with that, There you go. Hockey fights cancer. Fuck you, cancer.
In case you missed anything or you want to watch this show again, oh boy, you can check us out on teal10usa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, you name it, that's where you can find us. You can find me on Twitter at PuckGuy14, same thing for the Instagram. We will be back with you on Saturday night. It is a Hockey Night in Canada game, so it's an extra special night, of course. When the Canadian broadcast comes to town, they will take on the Vancouver Canucks, and that will be an early 7 p.m. start. So we will be back with you after that. And then, of course, a rare back-to-back Saturday, Sunday, and they head down to LA to take on the Kings. So we'll be there for both games for you. For everyone here, for Rocket and everybody else at teal10usa.com, I thank you for watching. And until then, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. We'll see you after we beat Vancouver. Good night.